Hands over the city, hands over the city. Living in 1960s Napoli really must have sucked. Hello there, CriterioNate here. Number 350 something. 355. Francesco Rossi's Hands Over the City. Le mani sulla cita. Or cita. No, it's cita. I think. Probably not. Oh well. Anyway, 1963, 101 minutes, black and white rural Italian, our second Rossi film, I think, after Salvador Giuliano. But not our last. I think we got one more. What is it? The Moment of Truth, I think. And I think there might be more. Let's take a quick look while I'm thinking about it, because Rossi seems to be a very politically driven. His movies are very politically driven. With Salvador Giuliano, obviously, it was based on a real life, event. Hands Over the City is a tale of fiction, but set in a time of real. I think the final frame of the film says the events and characters in this movie are fictitious. The social climate is the social context and values are real or something. I don't remember, something like that. It's a really interesting title sequence, or like title at the end of the movie, or disclaimer, if you will. So let me check with Rossi. Let's see. Yeah, Salvador Giuliano, Hands Over the City. Okay, The Moment of Truth is the only other one. I'm really interested in seeing The Moment of Truth because of the idea. I know it's about a bullfighter and all that, so that'll be interesting. And yeah, so anyway, yeah, so I don't have much to say about this movie because it's just like Salvador Giuliano. I'm confused as all hell by it. So therefore, there won't be many spoilers, if any. Basically, the movie is a kind of a gritty look at politicians back then. Basically, this one politician. What's his name? He's played by the American actor Rod Steiger. Eduardo Notola. And he is like this building developer who kind of like builds these like really shoddy buildings to, like get just on the backs of like all these politicians or something like that. Again, it's all about corruption. It's all about the political climate of Italy at the time, especially Napoli, yeah, that's basically all I can say. It's a very dark look at the story. Notola is one of those characters that he doesn't seem like he's a bad guy, but if you just read between the lines, you see the evil in him. And it's one of those movies that doesn't have a happy ending. It's one of those, the cycle continues where it starts, kind of thing. And yeah, they sort of like, there's this group of people who want to like exploit Notola, and he evades them and tries to hide behind. I think he's hiding behind the incoming mayor, De Sica, I think. This guy who's going to be the mayor. He's in cahoots with Notola. And yeah, that's basically all I can say. But yeah, I mean, just like if you're really interested in the politically charged movie about Italy, this is the one. This is the one you want to see. We get a lot of different angles of from the people's side, from the politicians' side, and it just it does the job, But in the end, I think Rossi does, side with obviously the people, because, I don't think he would exploit, it wouldn't be I don't think it would be fair if, if he just went to one side, but who knows? Anyway. So yeah, that's all I got to say. A bit rambly, but maybe someday in the near future, I'll rewatch this one again, try to get a better feel for it. Because it's not a bad movie. I didn't have any problems with it. It was just it's just hard for me to focus on these movies that are a little less about social interactions and things like that. More about like a global like kind of a community sense. Especially when it involves like a specific place and time in a foreign country that I know, little to nothing about. So, I know nothing about 1960s Italy. So, watching a movie and, expecting to kind of know what it's about, I mean, I can, it's easy to compare this movie to, for me, it's easy to compare it to, American politicians and how corrupt they are and all that stuff. So it's easy to think that way, to try and find some kind of connection to one or the other. Anyway, that's all I got. Hands Over the City rating, I'll give it a B. It's not a bad movie if you're into this sort of thing. I just couldn't get completely into it myself, But maybe someday I would like to watch this one again because, first of all, again, I think it's interesting that they cast that Rossi cast Steiger as the role. I don't think he speaks Italian. I'm watching his lips, and I think he maybe speaks some Italian and some. I think the majority of it is actually all overdubbed. He speaks some phrases Italian, and the rest is all English. But yeah, I just need to watch his lips again. I wasn't. It's hard to watch his lips and read the subtitles at the same time sometimes. So yeah. Anyway, Hands Over the City B. There you are. So this is the 2-disc DVD set. The first disc just has the movie. Second disc has a bunch of interviews. A new interview with Rossi, who at the time was still alive. I think he passed away a year after this was within a year after this DVD was put out. The film critic Tullio Kezek. There's a video discussion with Rossi and the co-writer Raffaele La Caprica and the film critic Michel Ciment. And there's also an interview with filmmaker Pierre Gorin, who we remember from Tout va bien. And the last but not least, there is another movie on here called one of Rossi's other movies called Neapolitan Diary. It was made in 1992. It is, I guess, the quasi-sequel to Hands Over the City. Rossi kind of explores Italy years, almost I guess 30 years after the movie was made. He shows the film because I guess at the time in Italy there were a lot of, the same kind of topics that were discussed in Hands Over the City were happening again in the early 90s for Italy. So Rossi went to Napoli and and filmed and showed. I guess at one point he shows the film to a group of people and they have a discussion about it. And there's also clips from other movies, I guess, that relate to Italy or that are set in Italy that relate to the picture. Some war, but basically movies about the Italian war. And that's all I can say about it. It's just another. Again, I think this was a little harder to understand. The second movie was a little harder to understand than Hands Over the City, just because it kind of jumped between a documentary and I guess sort of a fictional story. I guess it's a little hard to peg. So anyway, that's all I got. Hands Over the City B. I wouldn't give this a miss, especially if you're into Rossi. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow, and we will see you all tomorrow for, oh boy, Aim Campion's Sweetie. Hopefully it's way better than An Angel at My Table. Hopefully. Anyway, until tomorrow, goodbye.